All right, we are live. Make sure this is working correctly on YouTube.
Afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, gents.
Good afternoon.
What's up? All right, looks like everything's working again. You guys, what's going on? Welcome to another SteamRoomTrading.com video. We're live today instead of doing a recording, which is always nice. First time we've had the crew back together in a while. Figured we'd come in, given what the market's been doing, and kind of shoot the shit, talk about what we've been seeing. A lot of crazy market action as of late with this kind of mechanical unwind in a lot of these AI and hot names. And of course, we always like, chatting with you guys and answering your questions. So if you guys got any questions for any of us, pop it in the chat. We'll get to them when we can. But I kind of wanted to kick this off here, Jay, with kind of getting your notes on this. I know you talk about this on the Flow show and the Futures and Flow on Sundays that we have for subscribers only, but overall, kind of what have you been seeing in the market? That's been a little bit different lately.
Yeah. So now we're at the point where, even myself, I got to be careful because there's more of, what I feel about the market personally than what the signals that I follow may be indicating. And what I mean by that is over the past, I would say probably 3-4 weeks, a month. And for people in the Steam Room or on the Flow show, know what I'm relating to. We've been talking about certain things that were just kind of rubbing us the wrong way, uneasy, right? You had that speculative chase going on in these zero revenue, quantum, all sorts of niche theme plays that were going bananas, and people thought that would last forever. After the year came out of that group, and it was a pretty, multiple pockets, so pretty big group. After the year came out of that bubble, you had kind of this rush over probably just a week time, right into earnings season, a rush into these AI names. So they came out of all these speculative plays because momentum started to wane, and you had this chase of Mag 7 semiconductors, the beloved names out there that are already over-owned, but they rotating into earnings season, thinking that they would get, a boost from earnings, because earnings have been incredible in that group for quite a while now. We still haven't seen really any cracks on the earnings side. So again, anytime you get this chase and overcrowded positioning, Joe, we talk about it constantly.
Yeah.
It always ends the same way, So that was the concern 3-4 weeks ago, that even though the market was going higher and even though there was still names that were strong and going parabolic, that doesn't alleviate the risks that are out there. That risk still lingered. Fast forward to where we are now. Now you got cracks, right? That spec bubble, they're 50, 60% off the high, some of these things at the minimum, and still can't catch a bid. These AI names, which, it was hard to foresee ahead of time, these AI names losing a bid, but it started with Meta and Microsoft. So there's a ton of pain there. And, now I think I'm at the point where a lot of the things that had me a bit nervous and raising cash are being resolved. You know what I mean? We're in the process of seeing this all get resolved. Now, again, the question that everybody wants answered is, are we there yet? Is there more to go? And, the God's honest truth is we all have an opinion on that, but nobody ever knows. There are certain things that I like to pay attention to. The obvious ones, sweeper activity. Joe, you and I talk about like the credit markets and some of the credit signals. Almost always, even if they don't nail the exact lows, right, you're always going to get some bullish indication from these pockets when the worst is over, right? So that's kind of where I'm focused right now. Okay, I have an opinion about things. I think we're close. I feel we're close. I don't think things come unhinged here, but what the hell do I know? You know what I mean? It certainly can happen. You have overcrowded pockets of this market, especially in AI, that if people need to hit the exit all at the same time, you got some pain there. Let's be real. I don't care everyone gives me the rebuttal, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, about the fundamentals or the story. I don't give a rat's about the AI story and the fundamentals right now. When people need to get out of shit, they get out of shit. You understand?
Yeah.
Especially if they're levered. So that's what I think we got to pay attention to here. And, only time will tell. But you definitely want to be focused on that and rather separate yourself from the noise that's out there.
Yeah. Lucci and I were kind of talking about it today. He's like, is this starting of the cracks, right? Like, are we seeing cracks in some of this start to unwind? Because for us, Jay, like, and Ron, you've been doing this too. We've been trading a lot more on the index side lately. And, this volatility regime that we're in now is nuts. And most people haven't traded in something like this. Like, we're holding a bid in vol now, at least as of late.
Yeah.
Right. And again, it's just a legit bid in vol. It's not like people are trying to get, out of the money, put crash protection per se yet, or going out and buying, the right tail because they want to catch that. It's just pure on vol buying. And to Jay, you and I talk about this a lot too, from a volatility perspective, right? The trade has always been short vol and they're getting run over, right? It's just adding fuel to the fire. But, I'm curious, like, do you think that there are some underlying cracks in any of this macro or not, or do you even care?
The cracks to me is on the positioning side. Like, for a couple of years now, you have basically more on the fund side. Forget about retail, because retail's on its own planet. But when you talk about institutional money and positioning in stocks, the only thing they've been buying are the same names. You understand? Because the problem has been there's no other growth out there. You understand? Anything tied to the economy, tied to the macro side, tied to rates and the Fed and Powell, nobody's wanted to own any of that stuff for good reason, because there's no growth there. All the growth has been tied to AI. So the problem has been that as these institutions, the only thing they've been buying have been these same names, right? So they're all in the same stuff. All the pain is in the same stuff. They're feeling it all in the same places. So I think the risk becomes that the pain gets to a point where they need to start selling other stuff, right? And you get some of like that margin call selling, you get that forced liquidation that can sort of put extra pressure on things. But, we've been talking about this for a long time now. The market as a whole, it's a completely different complexion in the other half of the market. You got half the market out there that's underowned. Nobody's in. You know what I mean? So the bull in me thinks that money eventually will rotate into the stuff that's not owned and kind of hold a bid in this market. But, if it gets dicey in those crowded areas, who knows, right? And you brought up volatility. That's the problem with positioning. Even if you don't have a good reason for all sides positioning to get squeezed in a big way, you don't need a big reason. You need any reason. And you've had funds shorting VIX like it's free money for quite a while, built up an extreme, and eventually they pay the price for that, right? So how it all shakes out is the question that I don't think anybody has an answer to. You'll see the constructive price action start to surface. You'll see the flow start to show some constructive signs. You'll see some bullish divergence in the credit markets and volatility. We were seeing all the opposite of that 4 weeks ago. So now, instead of that bearish divergence, we want to look for bullish divergence. I think that's the only way to approach it, because, again, we can all guess, but nobody knows the answer.
Right, for sure. And Ron, you've been kind of now sitting there kind of looking at things, and I think for you've been looking at this as potential dip buying opportunities on some of this, right? Like, what is your take on what you've been seeing so far?
So to kind of what Jesus' point was, with all of these smaller companies that had these amazing runs, and now some of them are down 50 or 60%, it makes things a little bit more confusing for me. So the way for me to alleviate that is to keep it simple and just trade one or two things. So it's been easy to straddle both the 0-day room and the steam room and follow along with what you guys are doing and scalp. And then, yes, my broad feeling is that the market will recover and that there's potentially a chase going into the end of the year. So I'm taking those profits and I'm just buying Qs and a couple of select names that have held up really well through this volatility, and we'll see if I'm right on the other side. But the money's coming from the scalping side to pay for those positions. So right now, I feel very comfortable just continuing to do that as opposed to looking for that one name or that one group that's going to turn it around.
Yeah, I think it's tough, right? For even now to take a swing. Like Luch and I were talking today. I'm like, I'm looking at where we're at with some of this, and I'm like, man, can you imagine if we bought some like lotto call swings for end of year, right? And it's not like a horrible idea. Again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm not gonna. They're lotto tickets for a reason, you know. And I know Jade, lottos are not really your game, right? You're gonna wait before you kind of go in there, but so far, seasonality wise, you know, people talk about Santa rallies, people talk about, you know, things going higher. I mean, things aren't looking, you know, as great under the surface for now. But I would also venture to say, you know, we're not sitting here for like a full-fledged unwind where, you know, the market's going to shit itself and we're dead, right? It's, you know, if you look at the McElligott note, he was saying, hey, as it stands right now, this is more of like a profit-taking thing and a crazy unwind of overvaluated AI names, right? An overvaluated mega cap with that have capex problems than it is, you know, for us to be you know, kind of going down at a elevator type pace. And then on top of that, like Jay, you do look at rotation just like I do. They're still staying in a handful of names. Lucci was talking about the banks, and maybe Lucci can touch on this too, but some of the banks weren't even selling. There was days where we're going down. The Goldman Sachs is up 1%, right? And it's ripping. They're just doing that rotation in and out of these different areas or going to more defensive sectors until this kind of shakes out.
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head. I think, and that's, you know, without, listen, if the whole market was positioned the way they're positioned in these AI tech names, or short VIX futures, if the market was as offsides the whole market as it is in these pockets, we would have big problems. But I think that, again, if you're bullish, that's where you hold your hat, is that you have things like the financials that are not as crowded, not under-owned in the sense. The staples are under-owned. They're more defensive. Big pharma, a lot of guys in the room have been playing flow off Lilly. Merck caught some big action recently. That's had a nice move. Yeah, so they're not the sexy names that you're looking for bottoms in, but these are the places people are looking for opportunities while this shakes out, to your point.
Right. And now, Lucci, I wanted to kind of put you on the spot here too. So you've spent a lot of time now, like trading the indexes, like every day with the new 0-day product that you launched, right? You're focusing on intraday stuff. Like, what have you been kind of seeing, and how have you kind of changed your trading given this, you know, different volatility environment that we're kind of running in?
Well, I'm still looking to swing home runs, man. Don't get it twisted, man. Don't get it twisted. I'm trying to swing stuff, and I took a monster loss because I assumed Trump wasn't going to let this market kind of come down, and I was too early to the long, more or less, and we made those kind of fake moves back to almost all-time highs. Remember last week we were there more or less, like the indexes were there more or less. So I'm looking at this like, dude, we're about to plow higher, all-time highs and all this kind of stuff. And they caught me good, man. And they caught me good. And when they came off of that, they came off of that so fast. We had a 2% down day. SPY went from 682 to friggin' like 660 something in a day. And that's when I realized, like, oh, shoot, something is different here. And I was late to the punch on most, if not all, shorts. And I'm in a kind of pissed off situation here because I can't get short down here. I obviously can't get short down here. The narrative is, all right, we'll get back up there eventually. But honestly, like, I'm looking at most of this shit, like they came out. Obviously, the really overbought ones were the nuclear names. Jesus was talking about the nuclear names and the pure quantum, the pure quantum plays, and those have already come off. Like, you can't even get shorts on these now. Your rigatoni that Jesus used to love talking about.
Or guitar GPI.
This was a $60 stock. It's trading $25 here.
Nuts.
So that trade is already gone. It's not like we're sitting around waiting, hey, for this to blow up. They've already blown up the hottest, some of the hottest sectors here. And now you're going to come after, some of these semiconductors, and you're going to come after some of these bigger names today. Amazon, you're seeing names like Meta here that cannot find a bid. Yeah. Microsoft, you saw today down. Costco, even, these names are down 20. Banks, even, they came off finally. Goldman Sachs and all this stuff. So, I'm over here now on the other side of the coin saying, where is the rally? There's no umph to it. Look at it. We tried to rally our asses off today, and you're telling me that an NVIDIA earnings and some jobs report is going to come in here and save this shit? I mean, unless the man comes out and says himself, like, yo, we're pumping
buy
QE.
Stocks.
We're pumping QE again, which, Jesus, I don't know if you heard about that shit. I've heard that they're talking about turning the money printer back on.
Yeah. We were talking about it. Yeah. Part of the problem, again, that's not my, as you know, Luch, that's not my bag, liquidity.
Neither mine.
I follow people. And to your point, liquidity is a big issue to the point where they may need to turn the spigots on again. And it may happen sooner than you think. So who the hell knows?
Yeah. And to Jesus' point, who the hell knows? You know what I mean? So I think what you're really asking, Joe, with the SPX stuff, is you really have to give yourself to the strategy that we built over there, because again, like even the folks that are in there, they're not 100% committed. I'm not 100% committed to the strategy that we've created, and quite what's the word I'm looking for? But if you really looked at what we built over there, we don't have to do anything else. I don't have to stress out about anything. I don't have to come in the morning anymore, an hour before, and look at the news and see what's gapping up and gapping down. We don't give a shit. We don't give a shit. And you can scalp size on some of this stuff that we're doing in there, and you don't have to care. So I still have I'm going for the home run kind of this, attitude or whatever. But Jesus, man, it's getting harder and harder to beat me, man. It is getting harder and harder to beat me. And every single day I come in, I'm just like, all right, at what point am I going to put the boot? At what point am I going to put the gloves down? You know what I mean? And just do this strat and make my freaking money and go the fuck home.
Yeah. And what Lucci's talking about, for those that don't know, we launched a new product called 0 Day that, is just scalping the indexes all day, every day. And we built something that is, volatility is actually our friend. We get a lot more outsized move if you can trust the strat and actually use it the way that it's intended. So it's been fun with us when we have this, chaos for sure, especially on the volatility front. But Jay, kind of going back, there was a question for you in the chat here that I wanted to kind of get to real quick, but it said, we've already corrected 5% on SPX and a little more on the Qs. From a flow and positioning, do we have any indication of where this could go? And I think you answered most of that earlier. Where you're just like, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing, right? So like, I wish if I had more evidence, then I would be singing a different tune. But like flow wise, what are we seeing? I mentioned how we're seeing more of like defensive posturing, right? Lilly has been on the top bet list. Merck has been on the top bet list. Yeah. Some longer term 28 leaps and 2027 leaps they're nibbling in. So there's no aggressive buying, right? There's no risk appetite out there that has us to say that, okay, some funds are dipping their beak. They think that we've come down enough. They're looking to buy these things. They're nibbling in some places, and the stuff that they're aggressively buying in size, again, Lilly and Merck are the first two names that come to mind, right? Yeah. So there's no proof that, again, there's that appetite's building up again from sweeper activity. And, in regards to the market and positioning, like, again, I don't want to get too wonky, but in my opinion, what would save the market, and this is why I think, again, I'm always a glass half full guy. I get labeled as a perma bull. I take that as a compliment, but you know what I mean. I'm always trying to look for the optimistic lining. And what keeps me optimistic here is that I feel like the stuff that's out of favor, the stuff that's relying on rate cuts and Powell and tied to the economy, is going to catch a bid if it sees any selling. The reason being is they haven't participated in any of this bull market. You know what I mean? It's been strictly AI tech driven for the most part.
Wow. I hadn't even considered that narrative. That's interesting.
Well, that's what keeps me, optimistic about it. But I felt like it was going to happen already. Like we would see that rotation already. We're not seeing it. We're seeing it more rotation into more defensive stuff. And the reason being is, now Powell, the rate cut December is down to 50-50, right? It was a lock. Now it's down to 50-50. So Powell's kind of dragging his feet. They're worrying about inflation. And, people are now a little iffy on those type of names. So I think that's the question ultimately, is that if you think that this rate cut cycle is going to get underway, okay, these macro type names, economy sensitive type names are the places to look for opportunity. But for me, I need to see sweeper activity there. If I go just off my hunch, I usually get my ass handed to me.
Yeah. But you even look at these credit cards, MasterCard. Look at the American Express the other day. You look at Home Depot, man. Today it's got blown the fuck out, man.
Right? Yeah,
it got blasted. This earnings weren't even that bad, bro.
I know. I was thinking about, I was rooting for Flow and Home Depot a month and a half ago. If I would have bought that just on my own bias,
you'd have gotten smoked,
destroyed. So that's the problem here. The stuff that should find buying is not finding buying yet for whatever reason.
Yeah. I never thought about that narrative, Joe, that Jesus was talking about, like those names that never participated, and you get the rate cut, you get the money printer turned back on, everybody gets $2,000 in their pocket. Right. What do you know what I mean? Like, what do you go about and buy, and does it really spur a fresh narrative? I don't even have those names on my watch list, bro. Exactly. Like, I don't even know what you know what I'm saying? Like, once I looked at Eli Lilly the other day, and I hadn't looked at it in forever, because who the hell talks about Ozempic anymore and fat people drugs? And then you look at this thing, it went from $650 to $1,000, bro, in 2 months. In 2 months. And again, this thing moves super volatile. But I thought the competition came in, and everybody has an Ozempic now. Why the hell would you know what I mean? Why would this happen? I have no idea. So there's dynamics. I think that this is what the market does, man. And the market always gives you something that you didn't freaking think about. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and on that note of what you were saying, like it's giving you stuff that we didn't think about. I can't. And again, I haven't been in the game as long as you guys, but I can't remember a time outside of Liberation Day. That shit doesn't count because that was, news driven. But in this current cycle now that we've been kind of trading in, Lucci and I have now watched on an intraday basis them bring us down to lows, them rip us 40, 50 handles higher.
Yep.
Then rip our faces off even lower to another 100 handles.
Yeah.
That's chaos from an intraday perspective.
I've seen this stuff. And again, I call it these liquidity pulls where they just create these pockets where again, and it's usually during bear environments, because again, they have to trap these bulls, and you'll see it every single day. If you look at the last 3-4 days, we've had monster rallies in the middle of nowhere, 50 handle rallies or something like that. Well, that'll just get traded right back out. And if you look at your individual names, you'll see the individual names. It's just kind of like program buying. And once those programs stop, that's it. I mean, it craters, man, and it craters and goes to fresh lows. We saw it again today at the close here. So I've seen this quite a bit, where it seems liquidity just vanishes, and we're able to move much faster, and we're able to move with speeds that you haven't seen before. And in reality, if we move 100 handles, and you're telling me this VIX is still not even close to where the hell it was, in freaking October when we had that sell off, or somewhere close to something, it's kind of funny how the VIX moves as well. I don't know. I'd love to hear Jesus' thoughts on that, though.
Yeah. And the funny thing is you may bring up an interesting point, both of you guys, because you don't really sense the fear, in a sense, to create that type of volatility, because it's been kind of orderly in certain pockets more than others. But here's the thing we didn't even bring up. like the tail risk here, right? What players are worried about, funds are worried about, is because of the leverage coming out of these AI pockets, that something may blow, something may crack. In other words, what are they calling it? The circle jerk, right? You got money swinging in all different. Microsoft is giving one company money, that company is giving Microsoft back money. It's going in all different directions. Nobody knows what the hell's going on. And what you have is some of these private equity houses, these firms, okay, that are involved in it, that are getting hit over the head here, right? Like, what are some of these names? A quality name would be like a Blackstone BX. That's been getting its ass kicked, right? While the financials in general haven't. But what's the name that's been under pressure recently? That was tied to Oracle lending. Somebody in the chat will dig it up. It's got like a name of a guy or something like that. The symbol, small little private equity house.
But is it okay. It's a private equity house, but it's kind of like a bank, is what you're saying. Or something along
so
those
in other
lines.
words, it's these are the private equity firms that are lending a lot of the money out to these AI firms that are being over levered, and now they're getting concerned over them. Somebody will dig up the name. We see flowing it every day. There was news on it yesterday. Owl, thank you. Owl.
I've never even heard of this thing.
Yeah, neither have I.
Okay, so
Blue Owl Capital.
Yeah, so you got names like this that there's some concern about, that they're like what Jamie Dimon called it, cockroaches, right? When you see one cockroach, usually it's not just one; you see a whole bunch of them surface eventually, and this is what he's referring to. So that's like the tail risk. That's driving the tail risk out there. That's driving the bid in TDEX, Joe. That's driving the bid in VVEX and all this stuff. Is the concern that something may crack here. But you know what ultimately happens, right? If something cracks here, to Lucci's point, the money printer is going to go brr again, right? They're going to come out with some kind of concoction. Oh, it's not QE, but it's QE. And, the market's going to love it and bid up everything. But this is what they're worried about, that bigger risk out there.
I wish I was Pelosi, man. I wish I could just get up in, get me up in Senate. Just get me up in one of the hearings or something. Actually, not even the hearings. Like, just get me up in a conversation, man. Just to like a dinner or something where just people are just dropping. Obviously, people are just dropping shit, right? I mean, you figure you're Nancy Pelosi. You're having dinner with everybody up in there. You know what I mean? You're having dinner every single. It's DC, man. I've never lived in DC officially, but I've been to DC K Street enough to know, like, this all anybody does here. Everybody just goes to dinner, talks shit. I just want,
especially in this Trump administration, they do out in the open. They whisper insider trading to each other.
So I'm just trying to get some. Let me get some information, man.
Yeah, they're not worried about any of this shit. I'll tell you that much.
No, they're playing game. They're playing names right now. They are getting government contracts. Like
like one of them, I think, bought some biotech. You saw that today? That got bid up. Yeah.
Somebody. They always know. But now Pelosi's retiring, so
she's Trump might put some heat on her because they got some beef.
How does she vote against? How do you vote against
the insider trading?
How do you vote against the shit and then you walk out of there worth $300 million? You know what I'm saying? Like,
she's worth a lot.
How does every reporter who even talks to her not ask her the same fucking question?
Yeah, they do. But you see, she's your own answer. She don't care. You see the one Fed guy who resigned, and then we found out like why he resigned. He was doing some shady shit in the market in stocks. Did you guys hear about that? That was a recent story. One Fed member resigned, and people thought, oh, yeah, he's going to take it easy in life. He had enough. Meanwhile, he got pushed out because he was trading equities on the side.
There you go. Meanwhile,
we'd be in jail, though.
So what politician?
They put us in jail, Luch. We don't last.
Exactly, man. And I've been saying this, man. It's like you and I have to play the game straight up.
Yeah.
I have to come to the market every day, and I have to play this game straight up.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? And we have to build all this stuff to allow us to make the right decisions. And let's face it, you and I, most of the time that we shoot off from the hip, We ain't taking no. We're wrong, man. We're wrong half the time.
I
We're
can't.
either-
I'm so sick of doing it now to the point where, you know what I mean? I'm at that point where I can't even do it.
Exactly. We're either wrong on the timing, we're wrong on the execution, we're wrong on the name inside of the sector, right? Because it needed to be instead of Nova Nordis, it had to be fucking Eli Lilly. Meanwhile, they're both selling the same shit. You know, it had to be this or that. You know, there's so many factors here going against us. And these guys just walk straight into it, man. It's very frustrating sometimes, I do have to say.
Yeah, and on that was I kind of want to tee up Ronch for what you guys were just saying about, you know, having your own ideas, and sometimes, you know, the execution shit, we lose on this X, Y, and Z. There's kind of a beauty to Ronch, your strategy with the way that you kind of trade. And I know right now you've been kind of looking at, you know, different areas, but you play condors on a lot of consolidating names, so you don't have to guess on which direction it's going to break, right? Like that's part of your.
Yeah, I mean, if I hear somebody saying, "Oh, XYZ is dead money," I go to check the options market and see if I can collect premium. Or, for example, Microsoft, like Microsoft, and Lucci was calling Microsoft out last week and all the way through this week as well. Like, hey, and there were tons of sweepers, and I was like, I don't know what direction it's going to go. I see it stuck in a range. I don't care whether it's up or down. I just want to be there to catch it. The only way I can catch it for a directional trade is to sit in a condor and wait for a level that I'm looking for to breaks, and then I morph the side that's short.
That was today.
Catch direction.
Yeah. That was today. So did you morph it? Did you morph it today? So you had the condor and you morphed the put side there.
Yes, we played the downside on it because it broke the level I was looking to break.
And I mean, it was down fucking 3% today. And that was after holding like a champion last week, seeing tons of call flow come in. Yeah. And boom, they literally just pulled the freaking rug out on this thing. And most of these names now, they can't catch a bid yet. If you look at AMD, Amazon, you know, but Amazon, it had the earnings pop. So if you really look at this Amazon, where has it gotten here? They just sold the earnings pop. You know, and that's about it. So
yeah, that's a good point too. Net loot. A lot of these names, you know, they have ranges pretty wide, but net from 3-4 months ago, they haven't really gone anywhere. You know, to where they are now. So
exactly. You know, I'm looking at these names like Micron and those that S&D.
Oh, they're out of control. Those things. They're out of control.
This S&DK more so than anything. I mean, this thing is fucking completely out of control. But it's like starting to show the signs here, but the volatility and the options market, you can't get shit going on in the options market. So
they're probably so expensive, right?
The liquidity is not there, and they're saying they're super expensive. So you got to leg into some of this stuff. You got to play games out here and all this stuff. So, you know, even the Intel, they busted that one. That was a Wall Street darling for a while.
That's Trump. Yeah, that's Trump's baby.
Yeah, it's Trump's baby. You know, so funnel everything to the United States through Intel. And even they came off of that APP. I've been watching this thing since it blew out earnings back in August and goes to $750.
Crazy.
And now is literally trading back to, you know, some of those earnings here. And that's not even considering that it has a horrible hit piece out on it where they advertise for you know, sex abuse and things like that. They got charged.
Oh yeah, the hit blogs, man.
You know, so I don't know what the hell is going on there. But you know, again, as I look at all these names, like besides Eli Lilly, where the hell is the money going to? Like, where is the money going to? It's not fucking going to oil. I would have thought gold was all the way back to all-time highs now. It ain't, you know, it's not going in the crypto markets. And again, folks who are in the crypto markets, Jesus, they are.
No, could I say something?
There are some catty motherfuckers on Twitter.
Oh, Jay, I want to hear you talk about this.
Catty motherfuckers,
Jay.
Like they never seen shit like this before. They talk like they never seen shit like
I hate to say, I don't want to say the word, like they want to walk themselves to that point, and they do. Some of these people, they're nuts. But let me say one thing about crypto, because you know I've been wrong, obviously, but anti-crypto for the majority of my life. Okay, to say the least.
Yeah.
The one thing about crypto, especially you know recent years, it's been a leading risk appetite indicator, the best out there. Like the Bitcoin, the action in Bitcoin has been telling you that shit hasn't been right for a while. You know what I mean? You had this speculative action in small caps and micro caps. You had them bidding up AI names, and Bitcoin couldn't get out of its own way. It just sat around. Every rally got sold. And, a lot of people think it's kind of a gauge on risk appetite liquidity. You got some sharp money in there, especially on the sell side. It's worth following. Even if you don't trade it, it's worth following.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at the Zcash, right, Luch? That
man.
is nuts, dude.
And
did you see that, Ronch and Jesus? You guys see that Zcash ticker?
Oh no, I heard about it.
Zec.USD. So if I were to pull this end of September, trading what, $50 ish? As of right now, it's $624.
Yeah, this is the stuff that has me always. I put one foot in the bunker every time I look at it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Jesus, you'll love this. This is a privacy coin, basically. So now, again, through shit that I can't understand, basically, but it's like some zero knowledge proof.
Zero knowledge proof.
Yeah. So Joe can explain this probably better. But they basically verify transactions without revealing the sensitive information about those transactions. Now, there is a SPAC. I don't think it was a SPAC actually, but it was a pharmaceutical. I don't know what the fuck this company is.
Yeah, wait, the
Winklevi got behind this, just like Tom Lee got behind that BMNR. You remember the BMNR, right?
Oh, that's gonna bury everybody alive. That thing BMNR. But go ahead.
I got a great story, man. Jesus, this fucking kid walks into my office, man. He's like, "Yo, I gotta move here to Puerto Rico." I'm like, "The fuck you need me for?" He's like, "Yo, you're, I heard you're the guy around town." And I asked him, "What are you doing down here?" He was part of the deal with Tom Lee to get the private placement for BMNR.
Oh, jeez.
They put down $4 million, and supposedly they came out with 400. Supposedly, Jesus. At the highs of this thing, or whatever the fuck this is, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell it went to, but they closed the fund, right? They paid everybody out, okay? But now everybody is sitting on the shares, okay? Everybody's sitting on the shares, and everybody's waiting. And this guy moves here, and he walks in my office. He's like, "Yo, BMNR is going to go to fucking the moon." You know what I'm saying?
The moon. That's the target. The moon.
Because Ethereum is going to break 4,700 and it's going to go to 10,000, and we're going to be sitting on, the most money ever. And he's a kid, he's never seen that kind of money before, and he's bet his whole shit on this.
Yeah.
And boom, then come, a couple of months later here, now we're looking at the CYPH, which was a pharmaceutical company, and the Winklevi took it and said, "Okay, we're going to do the same treasury strategy, except we're going to buy Zcash. We're going to buy Zcash."
I got this ticker.
This thing has been fucking destroying people who are shorting it. And, it's still being held up here. So, again, like this whole treasury play and buying crypto, you remember every single name that they announced off of it? I mean, it went crazy. And then obviously went back to zero, BMNR being one of the biggest ones. Yeah. But now we're sitting on this CYPH because they're sitting on a bunch of Zcash. And
Zcash is the hot thing, huh?
And Zcash is now the hot thing.
Which I don't understand. Like I don't, as someone that was in the crypto space for a while, and then the ticker he's talking about is CYPH, Cypherpunk Tech, right? Which is nuts. But these zero knowledge proof stuff has been around for a while. This isn't new. Like Starknet, Immutable X,
even people in the chat. Even people in the chat. Look at this guy. This guy's like, everyone will need ZEC. You will need the privacy. It's going. I won't sell my ZEC even if it goes to $10,000 per coin. You motherfuckers talk. You motherfuckers talk like you're insane, man.
I know.
You don't understand how insane you are. Like even people who buy Tesla don't talk like that. And they're insane, man. They've lost their fucking mind. They want to
know why they catch beatings like they do with these comments they'll never sell. Why? What are you buying it for? If you never sell, what was the point of buying it? Like, what's the point of being up in it? What are you trying to prove?
Because they want to be a billionaire. They want to be the person that hodled Bitcoin.
They'd rather be labeled diamond hands than see their P&L.
That's right. They had a hodl, dude. It's a culture thing.
Hodl.
It's
It
a
is a cult.
culture
It
thing.
is a
bro.
cult.
You know,
And it
and
is
by the
cult.
way, I haven't seen Homeboy who walked into my office talking about, talking about BMR.
Oh, you
I
haven't? He hasn't
seen him.
surfaced in a
I
while.
haven't seen his ass since,
He
man.
could be,
You know what I'm
he could
saying?
be laid up in the beach and crabs coming out of his eyeballs.
I
right
don't
now.
know, man. I'm dying to see his ass though. Maybe I'll hit him up right now. Actually,
I just, I mean, that one just don't make sense to me. Just because they just picked that one. So this goes back to the point, and I'll digress from this in a second. But this crypto shit is just about how well you can market, and can you find someone now at this point, right, to go in and build some type of treasury off of your fucking token.
Yeah.
That's the game.
But that
Every
doesn't,
token treasury.
that doesn't last forever.
Right.
When,
No, it's a
doesn't last
short-term
forever.
trade.
Yeah.
It's short-term shit.
It doesn't last forever. Like, listen, this is another thing. Like, had a lot of us remember we were talking about feeling uneasy. You basically was easy as this, right? Luke, we could have, like, all kidding aside, 2 months ago, if you wanted to do it, right? Even a month ago, they're still doing it now. You could buy some dollar stock, right? Henley traded, okay, and then me and you go on X, and we just gas the living piss out of it, right? We go on X, all of us, and we're like, listen, it's going to 3,000, and I'm not selling at 3,000. I'm going to buy more, and just gassing it up like they do, and stocks would, go from 60 cents to $3 off that gas. You see it, right? Open, all
Open.
this other shit, right?
Yeah.
That ASST.
Yes.
They were doing it all over the place. That doesn't last forever. Like,
Yeah.
we're only a couple of weeks away from these guys trying to pump it, and nobody gives a shit anymore. You know what I mean? They can't even catch a bid.
And then you hurt their feelings. You know what I'm saying? Look at this guy. He's saying to buy. He wants to buy stuff with it without going to cash, so I can buy stuff privately without the banks and governments know what I'm buying. Son,
Good luck to you.
Son,
Good luck to you.
Your whole life
Hopefully you're just
history.
16 years old, and you'll learn the hard way, but it'll be a lesson. You know
what I was doing the other day? The other day I go to pay for dinner. And without realizing what I was doing, I was eating dinner with a couple and then their daughter. And I'm trying to engage with the kid. I'm always trying to engage with the kids because, geez, I talk to enough adults all fucking day, man. They piss me off. So I'm hanging out with the kid, and I'm like, yo, kid, pay, tell me. I had to, like, fill out a thing to reserve some shit. It was on an iPad. So I give the credit card to the kid. And the kid is out loud saying the credit card in front of everybody, right? I'm in a restaurant. But I'm asking the kid to do it. So I asked for it. And then all of a sudden I look around. I'm like, oh shit, she just said it in front of the whole fucking restaurant. Did anybody care? Not one person care. Did anybody use my card after? Not one person used my fucking card after. Nobody gives a fucking shit. Nobody cares about you. Open, whatever the fuck your name is, open till dusk. When you over here trying to protect what you buying, unless you're doing shady ass shit, what are you really trying to protect? Tell me. What are you trying to protect? Against who? Against what?
Oh, God.
And we fear this shit all day. You go on YouTube and you see this conspiracy shit. They know all this stuff about us. They're using it against us. We're all fucked. So we're all fucked anyway, man. It's that narrative is going to cease to exist. I still don't see people generally transacting in BTC or crypto. I don't. Yeah. You don't. You say you can buy some real estate. I did one real estate transaction actually in crypto where I got sent all the USDC to a fucking wallet, $700,000 to a damn wallet. As soon as the motherfucker pressed the send button, I'm sitting in purgatory waiting for 700 racks to show up in my fucking wallet just so I can send it over to a damn exchange. And then I'm looking at the fees and all this kind of stuff. But it was a quick close. So that was interesting. But beyond that, who's buying this shit? Joe, what have you bought with crypto? Let's be real.
To be honest with you, before sports gambling was like legal around here, all I ever used crypto for was to put it into my Bovada account.
And bet. So what is that? That's betting. That's betting.
It's just sports betting.
Yeah, it's betting.
Offshore sports betting. Yeah.
Offshore sports betting because we don't offer
because it's shady as shit. That is what it is. It's shady as shit.
And now who solved that problem? Now you can go on Robinhood and fucking.
I could go on Kalshi
You can
And
do
bet-
every degenerate thing that you could.
I can
possibly
bet on
want.
what Jerome Powell is gonna say in his speech.
It
That's
is
how I
amazing.
know.
It is amazing that you got like a retail brokerage firm right now that you can bet on whether Powell saliva dribbles outside of his mouth during a
it's-
speech, like
Jay.
on a brokerage form platform these days. Like
It's a
out of
it's a
control.
CFTC futures contract.
I know.
That's how they're able to get through it. So it's legal everywhere. And I'm gonna be honest, I fucking love it. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
I am here for all of that degeneracy, especially with
I'm
DCI.
telling you, this is the generation of degeneracy. Like when I was a degenerate gambler younger, because you felt like you were embarrassed by it, but you were proud of it amongst your friends. You know what I mean? You wouldn't let family members or people like that know that you were a gambler, but amongst friends, you almost felt like a mobster behind the scenes type of thing, right? But now it's like, I'm saying this would have been a wet dream back as a kid. You can just right in front of you gamble on anything at any time, anywhere. I mean, it's incredible where we're
this
at.
is all good, and this is all good for the economy.
Oh yeah, it's all good for society as a whole. I'm sure.
Every
So that's
celebrity,
actually
they have every celebrity in their pocket. Every celebrity now has a gambling like holding deal kind of thing where they're working with somebody who's just doing gambling because that's the one that pays out.
Yeah.
And people, and who are the ones that are gambling? We're talking about young dudes here. We're talking about young ass dudes.
Yeah.
I go to play a beach tennis tournament. One of the kids' brothers was there, and he's looking at an 8-leg parlay where he's put in $5.
18 parlay.
He put in $100. He's over there, trying to make 10 grand off this shit. And I'm looking at this. This kid's 14, man, smoking weed in a parking lot, and he's doing that shit. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
They started that very quickly. We were talking about it. In the UK. This was already, they were doing this years ago. So they're ahead of us. And I saw like a whole special of society amongst like these younger male generation that they were degenerate gamblers. You got to hear stories. Oh yeah, I would steal money out of my mother's purse every day, put on the first half of a soccer game. Crazy, like crackheads.
Which means we haven't changed at all.
Yeah,
it's just gotten easier. It's just gotten easier. You don't have to go into a casino to do anything. I could be on my couch and be an absolute degenerate on so many ways. Whether it's doing it with crypto, whether it's doing it prediction markets, whether I have live betting that I can do on my DraftKings or FanDuel app. We could do prop betting on players.
Your credit card, right? You can use your credit card. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
I wonder if Sailor like has nightmares of the day that he's just going to get margin called to the point where he's not even.
By the way, you
not even alive.
Bring that up. I was thinking. I know.
Like, I wonder if he thinks about it. I wonder if he thinks about it because there's some people getting fucking monumentally destroyed. Destroyed in that thing right now. And and it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter how much staking or whatever he's giving back in the form of dividends. All the other ones that he came up with, the MSTX, right? It was the one
that's the levered one. That's levered,
yeah, that one's the levered one. And then there was a couple others that he was.
That's an ugly chart.
This is ugly, bro.
Oh my god,
the levered one is ugly, bro.
I have never watched this.
He's been through this though, Sailor.
No. Yeah, I remember when we hit a level that his price was at. He went and raised more money and bought more anyway.
Yeah, he bailed himself out somehow.
So I think he constantly creates these ingenious financial vehicles that he can keep extracting cash out of and then just keep buying more. And then again, people are delusional out here. People give him $1 billion to buy more BTC all day.
But at the end, Lucci, it blows up. At the end, it's the same story. Blows up. There's no different ending. You understand? It always blows up. Always.
All right. So help me raise $100 million so we can sort this shit.
But see, that's actually like the interesting part of this, and what someone kind of typed in the chat too is like this all ends the same way. Like and this person said, Grumpsy said, the last time there was a generation of degeneracy, it ended in a 3-year bear market. Not wrong, right? You get into this craziness where everything's over levered across the board. I mean, Jay, just talking even about the markets, you had Gem and all these other guys when we were at all-time highs, and even McGilligan at one point was like, this shit is a ticking time bomb unless it unwinds. And we've unwinded. The unwind's been much more mechanical in nature than it's been like elevator down, we're gonna die like we did in Liberation, times with the yen carry trade unwind, right?
Yep. Well,
Right,
here's the thing, though, and this is the question. Everybody asks it. Every professional in the game, anybody who's experienced, they ask the same question. Is this 1996, 97, or is this 2000? You understand?
Yeah.
In other words, in 96, I remember it in 98, you had that Asian contagion, big correction. Everybody shit their pants, thought it was the end game, and they all ripped. And then 99 came, and everybody knows, even if you didn't trade them, what happened in 99. So that's the question right now, is like, is this it? Or do you have another year of even more leverage? And think about if this is not the over, if it's not it, what it'll look like in 2 years from now when it blows up.
So that's what I wanted to get to is, let's say that this keeps going higher. We are at a point now where there are more ETFs than single names, right? And every single big name has some type of levered ETF on top of it, which I don't think people talk about enough. McGilligan talks about it a lot, but that has to rebalance daily, which a lot of people don't know. So that's so much fuel to be added to any type of move that gets out of hand, right? And you talk about the structure of even SPX now. There's such little positioning out there. It's unbelievable on like just the indexes as a whole. Lucci and I see it every day where I'm like, we have like a couple thousand contracts on each level and they're flip-flopping. It's all over the place. People are like, okay, well, where's like there fucking isn't one right now. It's just so light and there's such a lack of liquidity in futures that we're just moving in crazy ranges with vol, with all this vol and negative gamma. Then you throw in all the other shit. So that's what they were driving at. So I'm wondering if we do bid this back up into next year or even longer, and we can't time this, but at some point, with how much leverage there is in all of these different things, I still believe in my heart here, and this is just a thought, that this will be one of the most disgusting. We'll get one of the craziest unwinds you've ever seen. Probably
I don't even think that's you being far-fetched. I think most people know that's the inevitable, but
just the timing, you have no idea.
I mean, that's the thing. You know what I mean? That's the thing.
What kind of an unwind are you looking for, or what do you think, Joe? Like percentage from the high? Like
I mean,
7.5%. So where do you think we're going? Down
I'm talking panic selling, Ron.
Oh, he's talking 2000 bubble burst on steroids.
Yeah, I'm talking panic, like 30-40% dump.
Listen, if that happens because of how we trade, and especially because of the 0-day room, we'll make a fuck ton of money.
Oh, of course,
way down. And then we'll be in cash when it's time to buy the stuff back up again. So
absolutely,
either way, I don't care.
Oh,
right? No, it's a great.
There'll be a lot of beatings out there. Is the point he's making. People will get.
Yeah. Well, that's where we profit. To your point, Ronch, like that's what we're looking for, right? It's like I have been asking for 2 years for something like that to happen, right? Again, I want it to happen. It doesn't mean it will happen. Right. But to your point, when we get this, we're going to see some, especially for people in the room that trade the way that we trade, right? There should be some fat P&Ls, right? For the downside move, because you don't have to top tick this sucker if we get that type of move. And then to your point, if like the Liberation Day, there's a chase that'll have to happen. And as long as you're part of that chase to the upside, you're going to get paid on that side too. It's just, I mean, we don't have to, but it's always fun to speculate it because that's what I like to do, right? Like Jay, you and I always talk about this all the time. I'm like, I look at this shit every day now from the gamma perspective, and I go, oh, it's unbelievable what they're doing, right? Yep. And I can only compare it to like data from the last handful of years because now it's become popular to pull this shit and everybody looks at it. But it's unbelievable when you get people that have been doing it for longer being like, yeah, this is just a whole nother. We're in a different era, and you just got to be used to it. We're not. It's not changing.
Ronchero and I have been part of, or even Lucci. This is a whole different animal you're dealing with here. A completely different animal. So, but yeah, the ending again. It's going to be fun for traders like you guys who salivate off the short side when you get that type of selling. Yeah. The people who get blown up are the people who are holding bags, right? Baskets of names, thinking that. Here's the thing, right? Let me explain the 90s to you because it was nuts.
I would love to hear this.
The late 90s. You had basically a run from, let's say, 96 to 97. You had an insane correction in 97 that shook everybody out. Everybody thought it was party over 1987 type crash, okay? Literally, market bottom, ripped to new highs like you've never seen before through 98. right? A year later, 98, the Asian Contagion. I just get my feet wet in the game. I'm Series 7 licensed. I go into the brokerage firm. Half the brokers are quitting because they got demolished. Okay?
Yo, same thing happened when I
Demolished.
entered prop trading. Everybody was walking out the door because, yeah.
98 was a bloodbath. People thought that's it. The death of America, they were calling it.
Yep.
Okay. Japan blew up. The country
I
as
gotta
a
go look at a chart of
whole
this.
blew up the economic system. They were China of 90 back there in the late 90s. They blew up. Okay. Then we bottom in 98. The rally in 99, words can't even explain because
Looking at it right now.
You're looking at it. It makes the 98 correction
almost
look
doubled,
like a little
dude.
blip. Okay,
Yeah,
a little
this is a
blip.
crazy looking chart.
Okay, so 99, you rip up, and every I would say 3 months throughout 99. So 3-4 times you get a violent shakeout. People thinking, oh no, here it is. Here goes the crash. Right? It lasted for about a month, and then new highs, parabolic move. Everybody splits 2 for 1. Go count your money. Everything's beautiful. We did that 4 times into March of 2000. And then the final time we pull back, nobody believed in the pullback. Don't sell, huddle. We do this all the time. We've been doing it for years now. New highs coming. And
Yeah, I'll
it
show you
never
guys
came
this.
back and blew everybody up to smithereens. Whether you were in a blue chip or a speculative name, they all got lumped, hit over the head.
Look at that. That's crazy. I mean,
Okay.
just this pump here from 900 up, and then they
Look at that.
shit on everybody over the next 2 years. That's nuts.
Insane. So even my point being is that even though it was late in the move, the velocity late in the move in 99 into 2000 was insanity. Like anybody who thought about shorting, to your idea, Joe, catching the short of the blow up, they didn't
It's
exist
tough.
anymore because they got destroyed trying to short it.
Well, even that part too. I mean, Lucci, you can talk about this. I mean, the psychological portion of shorting is a totally different ballgame. Most people will say, "Oh, I'll catch it," and vast majority don't fucking catch it.
Nah.
Right? It's not
You
easy.
see what Lucci does? He's got to take 8 stabs before he's even in a position.
Then he makes his big money. He
Yeah.
he did it this year. The trade that he had this year, and Lucci could talk about it if you want, but I watched him get stopped out and lose 400 grand in 2 different trades
Who's gonna do
before the next time he took it, and he closed down $2 million. So it was a $400,000 taste. A taste.
He's insane. Like literally, I seen him take like 7, 8 straight paper cuts. So think about taking 8 straight stop losses trying to catch a short, only to keep trying to catch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's almost like he's testing the trade to see if he's right. He's willing to donate that money.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm not willing to donate that motherfucking money. Though. You ain't gotta say it like that.
But not many people are psychotic like that. You got to be a rare bird to do that.
Psychotic, he says.
He's
I am
psychotic. He's
psychotic.
nuts.
He's partially reformed though, Jay.
I know
gotta
you were
say.
telling me that. He's telling
gotta
me
say
that
this.
you reined it in a little bit. Any truth to that,
Partially
Luke?
reformed, because here's the kicker. During all of this initial downturn, Lucci was not bearish.
No.
I've never seen that. Lucci's like,
No.
oh shit, this might. No,
I
he's
ca-
like,
I don't
fuck
believe
this.
that.
Yo, I
can't-
wasn't, man. I'm
He
telling
was
you,
not
man.
bearish. He was trying
I
to. He would
wasn't.
swing long 4 times.
Really. You're telling me he didn't show, you couldn't sense a new excitement. as
That's
things
why
were
he's so
selling
pissed
him.
right now. He's not short in this right now.
I'm not shorting this. I
Wow.
got caught. I got caught because every single time we consolidated, we just kept going up. I mean, I'm talking about since April, since the tariff stuff. Tariff stuff just brought me back to life, and then I just went long. I went long everything, bro. I went long
Yeah.
everything.
Well, how could you not? I mean, it was ridiculous.
Of course. So, and I think that's what too got me caught on the, on the long side thesis, and I didn't catch any of this move lower here, which is upsetting. But at the same time, if this is really going to go down and this is really going to happen, even close to what we have for the tariff stuff, Jesus Christ, we're going to make so much money. So who cares, man? Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? It is.
Well,
What it is.
that's again, the optimist in me thinks, like, honestly, if you're a bull here, you're liking where we're at because there's some damage being done. If you're a bear hoping for a debacle, if the debacle shows up, there's going to be a lot of downside, especially in names. You still got names that are up significantly. You know what I mean? So if a debacle shows up, there'll be some more movement there. But I think interesting times ahead, anyhow, to say the least.
Yeah,
So
it's been fun in all honesty. I mean, for some people at least. But the interesting part with Jay, just to kind of as like the last piece of this, but in the McGilligan note, he was saying like the people that have real money are looking at this. It's a P&L play. They're taking money off the table. They think we're in the third inning of
third inning. Is that nuts?
Third inning out of 9 of the sell and like the tech and AI, right? And what they're looking, they want to buy the dip. Like that's what they're doing. And Madden made a funny comment earlier. He's like, yeah, because they probably fucking missed the entire run.
It's true.
Right. And he's not wrong. They probably did miss the entire run.
Right.
And you and I were talking about this months ago where the pain trade was the right tail that nobody that people didn't have. Retail is the only people that had it.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So, but I read, McElliott at third inning, the thought of it being just a third inning really blows my mind, But nothing would shock me in this game, bro. If everything blew up here, it wouldn't shock me. If we went parabolic, it wouldn't shock me. This game, you got to expect everything. Nothing's impossible.
Yeah. That's the difficulty. To get rid of your bias, it's very
nothing's impossible, especially these days when you get a Fed that can rig the game. Anything is possible. Anything.
Well, let me ask that question. Actually, sorry, Joe, for interrupting, but let me ask that question. Like, if Trump's going to get let's just assume homeboy gets a second term here. He's only 10 months into this, correct?
What do you mean second term? Oh no, Powell.
No. I'm talking about Trump. I'm talking about Trump.
That's it. Oh, he's not getting a second term.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. Let's just assume
he's got another 3 years left.
Yeah, he got another 3 years here.
Listening to too many left wing.
Lucci thinks they're going to change the laws.
Bukele did it. I think he's godfathered in now. The motherfucker's going to be there for 30 years. Anyways, what I'm trying to say, what I'm asking is, does he even allow this shit to crash?
Right. I mean, well, here's something, even to your point, ready? Next year, right, Powell's gone. He's going to put in a Fed chairman that he wants. What do you think he's going to have that Fed chairman do? You think he's going to – you don't think he's going to – I mean, come on.
And that's coming in January.
It's coming in – I don't think it's January. I think it's what? Spring, right? I think it's spring.
I think it's March. That's right. And
March,
Jay, on top of it, they're going to change some of the seats this year because I think they do it every 5 years where they change some of the seats of power to different cities, right?
So it's going to be Trump's puppet. The Federal Reserve is going to be Trump's puppet.
Right. So if you add all this to the scenario here, you kind of do have a perfect storm here for higher prices and higher equity prices and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think, you got to lean optimistic and look at this stuff as an opportunity. You know what I mean? You don't want to jump the gun, like Ronchero makes this point all the time. You don't have to catch a falling knife to make a money in a big turn. You know what I mean? You don't have to catch the low, right? That's like saying April. You didn't have to start aggressively buying in April to kill it. You could have bought it in June and absolutely raked it in. So, you just want to be smart about it. But I think you have to lean bullish. You have to lean bullish because of all the things you just mentioned.
All right, I'm shorting tomorrow then.
So let me ask you this though, Jay, on what Lucci was saying, because this is an interesting scenario though, because, and I'm not talking about him getting a third term because he'd have to change the Constitution, but what I'm talking about is the Powell stuff, because Trump had come out on this last cycle, right, where he said too late Powell. He was saying cut rates now, and if later on we decide that we need to hike them again because things change, we'll hike them. Can you imagine being in a cycle where at any given point in time he could just say, fuck it, we need to rate. Okay, and then next quarter we'll just knock it down. Fuck it, let's go back up.
Right.
That's chaos. Like
that is
honestly
chaos. Listen, from my experience, and again, there's always a first for everything, but from my experience, what always kills the bull is one thing: the Fed. It's usually the Fed is forced to hike rates, tighten liquidity, and that kills every bull market. It happened in 2000. It happened in 2007 before 08. It happens time and time again. So that's why ultimately the dagger is going to be if the Fed is forced to raise rates to slow things down. That's ultimately what happens before the collapse. Right now, we don't have that right now. You know what I mean? You don't have that. You have a Fed that's starting to cut, even though Powell's dragging his feet. But a good example, the 90s, Greenspan was raising rates. He was calling the market a bubble. Irrational exuberance he was calling in the 90s, and the market spit on him and just continued to rip to new highs constantly. Didn't give a shit. But ultimately, all those hikes, popped the NASDAQ bubble. So I think the Fed it's always about the Fed, man. It's always about the Fed.
I mean, another thing that people continue to bring up is the debt, man, is the debt. But again, they've been dealing with that for decades now, and they just
kick the can down the road.
They kick
How long
the
have
can
they
down
talking
the
about
road.
the debt being a problem, Lucci? I remember when I got in the game, they were talking about debt being a problem.
And now homeboys out there on Twitter saying we're making so much money from the tariffs, we're going to give you back, we're going to give everybody back $2,000, and that he doesn't understand why people keep saying inflation is high. He's like, yo, we got this shit under control. I'm like, what fucking world are you living in? Were you seriously like, how do they gauge inflation? Like, if you asked like Jesus right now in Long Island, do you feel inflation?
Of course.
Right? With your insurance premiums, your food costs, your
groceries, bills, everything.
Yeah. So how can they even make a statement talking about we're going to get this down to 2%? Like, what does that even mean, man? What does that even mean when everybody feels squeezed? It doesn't make sense to me, Yeah,
that's nonsense. But that's the thing. To your point, the regular guy out there it's rough with the things that people might be making a little more money. Maybe they got investments, that have been going higher, but the price of everything has gone up pretty drastically over the years. The stuff we pay on a daily basis. So that's why you got Luke, you got the biggest disparity between the poor and wealthy that you've ever seen. It's incredible. If you're not invested in the market, what's good about anything of the economy?
Exactly.
You're losing money every year, even if it's sitting in a savings account.
Right? You can't pay rent. Rent is how much they charge rent. Your grocery bill is astronomical. Your electric bill is astronomical. Everything's chaos. So
to Lucci's point, then explain this to me then, Jay. How can you, with all of this and everything so bad, how do you get to that 2% target? I know macro is you're not crazy on it, but
I don't
cut rates too. What are we? No, it never made sense to me.
If they can't get there, they're going to say, "Oh, we got a new target, 3%."
Right.
And you never, I'm serious. And you'll never, you forgot.
And it won't matter. 3%'s the new norm, just like retail buys every dip. Right?
Where do they get that number anyhow? They pull it out of their ass cheeks. Where's 2%?
Well, there you go. They're turning QE back on anyway. So there's plenty of money on the fucking table. So listen, come to 0 day.
Lucci said that with a dying voice.
Come to 0 day. We don't even care. You can wake up without even taking a shower, without even looking at anything. And you can just trade these little stars that just happen to work every fucking day, man. I don't know.
Well, that's the beauty. I mean, of scalping. If you could scalp, that's what gets you through these times. Waiting to kind of put on the weight. You know what I mean? You can't just put on weight, swing weight. Anytime you want. You get buried in this market.
Yes.
You gotta find something in between.
Yes, you certainly do. I know that more than anybody.
Yeah.
Anyways. What do you want to do, Joe?
Yeah, I think we'll cut it here. So, again, thank you everybody who kind of tuned in. We are running our, course sale here. It just kind of got kicked off. So if you want to learn how to trade the flow, learn how to read tape from Lucci, flow from Jay, learn how to take condors and other longer term positions and make them work for you with Ronchero's Precision Options. We're offering 1 month free of the Steam Room, as well as 30% off all of the courses right now. Head over to steamroomtrading.com. On top of that, if you guys want to join Lucci and I sitting there scalping these indexes, and trying to collect some fat premium across the board, steamroomtrading.com/0 day. That's our new index trading product that we have been doing. And if you're looking to trade equity options and longer time frames, or even scalping, in all honesty, too, on some of these individual names, Wall Street Jesus and Ronchero always in the Steam Room. Head over there, grab a membership. And, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you guys for doing this. Appreciate it.
All right, boys.
Good night, everybody.
Take care.